Hello everyone. In this video, I am going to explain you how to enable Azure Active Directory authentication with Azure APM instance. So let's go to the Azure portal, check the APM management services. I have two services. Let's start with one. Before going to this, I just want to show you what is the existing authentication type available. You can open the user section under developer portal, and you can see there are two users other than administrator which have the authentication type as basic. So where you can check whether what is the authentication types has been defined. You can go to identities and can check there is a existing one, that is username and password. This will be set up while API instance creation. So now we are going to achieve the new authentication type, that is Active Directory. So let's click on add and select the type of the authentication. You have multiple options provided by Azure, but now we are going to choose Azure Active Directory, as this demo is for explaining the enabling the Azure ID authentication with APM. So it is asking me to enter client ID, client secret, and tenant ID. So these details can be captured from service principal. Service principal is nothing but app registration. So let's create an app registration. So now we have to go to app registrations. Let me create one new with a valid name or whatever naming convention you follow. Yeah. And I'm just going with the default. Just click on register. Yeah, it has been created. Now you got application ID as well as tenant ID. Let's copy these into one notepad. This is app ID. Let's copy the tenant ID as well. Now it is asking me to enter one secret key. You can generate under certificate and secrets. So click on new client secret and give some valid name. Now, I'm not going to choose 1 year or 2 years, because when a company is planning to do this Azure AD authentication, that would be a long running plan. So, this particular secret key expiry should not give a trouble to me when I am using the service. So, it's always recommended that we should select never. In case if your organization have some certain rules to be followed on this, you have to abide for that. Let me select never and add it. So the key has been created. You have to take this key value. Otherwise, once you refresh this page, you will not get this again. So this is secret. Now let's go back to APM portal. Now we have to copy the details. Application ID, secret value, and tenant ID. You can see there is one option, allow tenants. It's not required because we have only, I mean, at present we have only one tenant which we are using default directory. So I'm just going with that. It's not that important that what it will allow a different tenant. Mostly different tenant will have a different setup. So in real time it won't be used. Now you can see the redirect URLs. Let's copy this into our notepad and developer portal as well. Now you can see a difference. like let me go to the first, let me add this. Yeah, now authentication type Azure Active Directory has been created. Let me go to overview. You can check the gateway URL and developer portal URL. There will be a slight difference between gateway URL and developer portal. You can see there the first prefix is our API instance name dot developer. If it is a developer portal, you will see developer. If it is a legacy portal, you can see the URL contains portal. This is the only difference, and suffix will be azure-api.net. This is a default value which I'm using, but in real time companies will have a different domain which has to be defined under custom domains. You can see there is an option called custom domains. So you have to add the custom domains according to the company, and that is a different setup where you should have to configure a lot of things, including the DNS. So I'm not going to discuss that in this demo. Let me take you back to identities. Now you can see a new authentication type Azure Active Directory has been now created. But still we have to do some configuration, otherwise this will not work. Let me show you what we have to do. Now we have copy pasted the redirect URLs, right? So these redirect URLs should be authenticated with our app registration, otherwise this will not redirect and user will get a problem. Now you have to go back to Azure app registrations and just go to overview. Now there will be a value called, there will be a key called redirect URIs. This is nothing but whenever a user tries to hit this URL, that has to authenticate by a token. So that thing we have to define here, otherwise this authentication will not work. So let's click on add a redirect URL, or you can directly click on authentication, which is under manage, and you can click add platform. Now the redirect URL, we are trying to reach internet, that means we are trying to reach a web. So you have to choose the application as web and provide one of the URL which we copied from the APM portal while creating the authentication type Active Directory. I'm not going to enter other details except selecting these access tokens and ID tokens. What this will do is, this will give a permission to generate a token and authenticate with Azure Active Directory as well as Azure APIM. I'll show you that in the permissions, API permissions. So I'm just configuring this. Now we have added only one URL. We can add n number of URLs here. So let me add this URL as well. So I have added this URL again. Now let me save this. Let me show what permissions it actually gives. So if I go to API permissions, you can see here Microsoft Graph user.read. This is a delegated permission which will act as a like IAM role, I can say, between Azure Active Directory as well as Azure APM. There is nothing much to discuss on this. Now we have configured two redirect URLs under app registration, right? Now we have done all the changes, but we have to do something from Azure APM portal, otherwise the changes what you have performed will not be visible. For that you have to go to portal overview and publish the changes. Without this step, Sometimes it will show, but mostly it won't show when you are using a custom domain. So yeah, the changes has been published now. Let's check the URL. Let me close all this. So copy this. I'm not going to use this extension that sign in AAD and sign in, because this will this is a redirect URL. Mostly customers will not get. Why? Because whenever you invite a user or whenever you give instructions, you have to provide only the URL. Let me, yeah. We are going to give only this URL. It is a legacy portal. It is a developer portal. So let me open these URLs. This is legacy. Legacy portal has been opened. This is a developer portal which company can customize it. Now try to sign in. You can see there is an option enabled for Azure Active Directory. Previously, like if like until unless you create a new authentication type, this option will not be visible. Let's check whether the same option is coming here or not. Okay, I think it got logged in again. Let me sign out because I have tested it already. So I'm just giving a demo again. So it is taking the old login. Or else we can do one thing. Let me close completely and try it again. That would be the best option. So let me enter the URL of developer portal as well as legacy portal. Yeah. Now let me try to sign in on legacy portal as well. Obviously, like you can see Azure Active Directory here, and here it is not showing. Why? Because this could be a reason, because of the changes what we have performed is not published properly. So in this case, what you have to do is you have to go back to Azure APM portal and publish the changes. Now come back to the URL and refresh the page. I think it will show now. Let me see whether it will be visible or not. Yeah, you can see alternative sign in with Azure Active Directory. Now, let me try to log in with the user existing under Azure Active Directory. Let me show you one thing, that what all are the users available here. I have created two users under Active Directory, but usually if your organization is connected with on-premises Active Directory, then you no need to check this, because once a user is created on Azure, I mean on-premises AD, obviously user will be able to log in here. For a demo purpose, I have created the like two users and testing the same. Let me take you to Azure Active Directory. Now, click on users. For testing purpose, I have created two users, and this is my admin ID. So, yeah. Now, let me try with one of this ID. If you can see here, I have already used this user. So, let me try with a different user. So, let me try with this user ID. So, use another account. So let me enter the password. it is asking me to, I mean, because I didn't set up any authentication like MFA, so I'm just skipping that. In case if your on-premises data center ID have a MFA enabled, then obviously all the things like whatever security features enabled under AD will come here as well. Now I think it is already logged in. Yeah. Now it is asking me to enter the details, right? This would be the first time whenever a user tries to log in developer portal, then this particular page will come. So I need to enter the details. Okay, first is email address. I'm going to enter the same email address as what has been provided in Active Directory. User can be able to provide a different email address as well, but that is not a best practice. So we always need to recommend user to provide the email address what has been provided in Azure Active Directory. This will be easy to track also. Now let me give the name. Sorry, let me give here. It's a developer 2, so I'm giving 2 here. And one more thing, these steps will be followed by user. So we have to instruct user very carefully that they have to provide the email address properly and first name and last name according to their choice. But email address should be the one what they have used on Active Directory. There is no like particular reason on that. Why? Because if you are using different email addresses, same way it will create a record on APM instance. So in case in future if user wants to have a different authentication type, and if they use a different email address, they might get confused. That's why it's always suggestible that user should provide the same email address what they have used on Active Directory. Let's sign up. This is one time action. Once user sign up, then from then it won't give this page again. User can continue using the APM portal. I mean APM developer portal. Now user got logged in here. Now what changes will be made into the portal? Let me show you that. Go back to APIM and click on users. You can see a user record has been created with the authentication type as Azure AD, and automatically he is a part of developers group. This means in case if user wants to subscribe to a product, then yes, user should be a part of some group, and as well as the product should be on the same group. Otherwise user will not be able to see the products and he cannot be able to subscribe to it. So I have already created one product name called, let me show you the products. I have set up a test API and created one test API for product, and attached to that developer, let me show you that access control. If you see, I have added developers. That means this particular product can be visible to users when user is a part of developers group. As simple as that. Now you can see there is no subscriptions raised by any of the users other than the administrator. Now go back to overview. Now let's see if user have any existing subscriptions. To check that, you have to go to profile, and you can see there is no subscriptions for this particular user. Now user has to subscribe to one product. Let's try to subscribe a product and test a API. And again I'm telling that this particular subscribing to a product, testing a API call, these all things will be common as how user was using a basic authentication type. All these things will be same. So let's subscribe to one of the product. Give some name is dev2. So let me give that name. Subscribe. Once you this will be done by user. So still this has to be authenticated. This has to be authorized. So the state showing as submitted. If you go to the subscriptions, it will show submitted. Even you can check from the portal subscriptions. You can see the state of one of the submitted request is submitted. You can just go to these three dots and activate the subscription based on the approvals or procedure what has been followed, what has to be followed. So once you approve this, the state will change to active, and same thing you can see here as well. Yeah, you can see the state as active. That means user from now can be able to access the API calls by using the subscription key. Let's give a try for one of the API call. So I'm going to APIs and open this lab API. This one I have set up. Even Echo API you can test, but that is a default one, so I don't want to test that. So let me give a try with this call, which will reach the our developer portal URL. So yeah, it is selecting the subscription key as a primary. You can use a secondary as well. Previously, like if user doesn't have any subscription, then automatically he will get an error. Now it is, let me send this request. Yeah, we got a 200 OK response. That means this particular, I mean, whatever we have set in the API is reachable or not. It is reachable and giving us a response. Yeah, this is how a user will be able to do all the things except approving the product subscription. So this will make administrator work ease, and also we are only giving some chance to user to log in by themselves and by just following some steps. And one thing I want to tell here is, for example, you can see here there are two users. In real time, there will be thousands, lakhs of users. So until unless user try to log in successfully, the user record will not create here. So there will be no problem like we might think, okay, once we enable all the users existing under APM will come here. It won't sync. It will be it won't possible until unless user try to log in, and once user try to log in successfully, then only here one record will complete, created, that too with the authentication type as Azure AD. So this is how we can enable, and we can use it uh, as a development in this particular authentication. We can even create or use existing Azure AD groups, which we can use from on premises as well. So that will be a I can say improvement in the future, which I'll be giving a demo on that later. But as of now, we are discussing only on how to enable Azure Active Directory authentication between Azure AD as well as APIM. Now let's go to users. Yeah, as I showed you, I have two APMs. Like in maybe some companies will have multiple APM instances. So now you might think, okay, if I need to enable Azure AD authentication, then I might need to use multiple app registrations. It's not necessary that you have to use until user suggests that. Customer suggests that. We can always use the resources effectively, so that we can use one app registration to set up for multiple IPMs. That is very easy. Like how I have created identity, same way you have to do that. Go to identities, click on add, enter the details what we have already copied, you are like no need to go with a different client secret key also. You can use the same. So secret tenant ID. Now you need to copy these URLs because we have to set these URLs under app registration, which we have done previously. As I said you previously, we can add n number of URLs, right? Let me add this identity type, added. Go back to the app registration and go to the redirect URLs and add the ones which we copied now. I'm going to add one more. Save it. We are done with setup. And as I said you before, the last step should be like we have to publish all the changes. So go back to portal overview, publish the changes. Done. Now just click on users. Let's see once I try to log in what will happen. So let me use a developer portal as well for this test also. So I just copied the developer portal URL and go to the different browser, enter the URL. This will take same Active Directory credentials what we've been using here on these two pages. Yeah. Let me sign in. Yeah, you can click on Azure Active Directory login. Yeah, it is taking the same credentials what we are using on these two pages. So I'm just using the same. I think I have clicked next instead of clicking that skip button. Okay, let's see what will happen here. Or else we can close and try it again. Let me try like that. So let me skip this. It's nothing but a MFA, I think. If you are not set up this, either it will ask for a authenticator app to be approved. Those things it will ask. So let's click on yes. Yeah. Now it is asking you to enter the details like email address, first name and last name. What has been provided previously, right? Why? Because even though the Active Directory ID is same and credentials is same, still it is asking us to register this because if you have multiple APM instances, each identity under APM instance will be treated differently. So the identity which is defined under APM test lab 01, I mean one instance, is not equal to APM test 02. That means the identities what you are setting for different APIs is different. So for the first login time on the developer portal for a particular APM instance, then you have to provide the email address of user and remaining details. Let me copy the user email address. It is there in the users. So let me give the developer to sign up. Yeah, it is loading. Yeah, we have successfully logged in to the other APIM developer portal as well. Now check the user section on this. It created a user record with the email address and this name, right? Same like what I have given a demo for how to subscribe product, how to use the API call. This will be same. This will be common for like even if the authentication type is basic, Azure AD, Google's like whatever I have showed you before, right? So whatever authentication type you use, the product subscription, the remaining steps like testing API call will be same. Only thing will be differ is like for the first login, user have to provide the sign up details. Each APM is a different login. Only connection between all these things is Active Directory. User is not going to use a different credentials. He is managing all the, like if for example if you have 10 APM instances, then user have to remember all the 10 passwords if the user ID is created with the basic type. So that can be avoided. Even user will be happy in using same password for multiple logins. Now we have set up all these things. In case if you want to remove all this setup, so how you have to do that? We have to plan for that. Why? Because if you like maybe you might think that you can go to identities and remove this Active Directory. You can remove, but still traces will be not deleted like automatically. So you have to go to users. I mean, like you have to plan accordingly. First thing is you have to block the users. Block the users in the sense, users, we will be informing the users, but maybe in case if user is not available at the time of the announcement happened, and if user is not aware of the announcement, user will still try to log in there and there will be a complaint reported. So we can avoid all those things. First thing we have to remove the user. I'm telling this to remove the entire what I can say platform what we have given for Azure AD authentication with API for this particular API, and still this should work. Okay, so let me go to the identities. I have removed all the user IDs before doing this. In my case only one ID is there, but in real time there will be hundreds of users which you have to take care very properly. Like you have to take information about each and every user, like whether user have a existing product subscription, like those details you have to collect. What is the username, last name, email address? If you take all the details, then it will be easy. In case if user comes back and saying like I want it back, you can set up all the things again and you can give it to user. Now let me go to the identities. Now you have to remove this. Yeah, from APIM instance we have removed this, but there will be still a trace available under app registration. That is the redirect URL. You have to remove this only URL. As we are using same app registration for multiple APM instances, you have to remove only the URLs, not the complete app registration. If you remove that, automatically that will give a problem to the other APM users. So you need to save it. From then this URL will not work. This URL will work, but the Azure AD authentication will not work. Let me show you that. Go to the different tab. And one thing, you didn't publish the changes. So if there is any cache information, there might be some chance to show you login with Azure Active Directory. So keep this step as a mandatory. Otherwise, this will actually confuse us. You have done some changes and it is not reflecting there. You no need to wait. Actually, you can just publish it and give a bit of time to replicate all the changes. Let me sign in here and see whether Active Directory option is showing or not. It is showing. As I said you before, I didn't publish. I published it. After that, I have to try that. Let me sign in again. Let me refresh this page. Okay, I think it is taking from cache information. Let me open a different browser. Or else you can give a try after like some time. But if you want to see instantly, then yeah, you have to try in a different browser. Let me sign in. Yeah, now you can see there is no option to sign in with Active Directory. That means you have completely removed it. Completely removed in the sense, even though if you remove the identity, it won't show. But how admin has to check is you have to remove identity section. Before that, you have to remove the user first. Then coming here like identity section, remove that, and then go to app registration and remove the redirect URLs. These things you have to follow when you want to remove the entire things what you have performed to authenticate from Azure Active Directory to APIM. So this is how you can authenticate your AD, I mean your Azure Active Directory with application, API management. I'm going to remove other other details also here. Let me go to the users first. Remove this user. Then go to identities. Remove this. Do not remove this because at least one identity type should be there. Otherwise, user will not be able to reach developer portal. So you have removed the identities, and then finally you have to remove these two URLs. Still, you have your app registration available. If you want, you can remove that, but this won't give like any problem. Why? Because in case if there are like there will be a requirement like users are going to use a new APIM instance, then they want Azure AD authentication to be enabled. At that point of time also you can use this. In case if you lost the key, then still you can use. So I'm just saving this and keeping this app registration for the future purpose because it won't give any charges also to you. This is how we can achieve. So this is how we can achieve how like enabling Azure Active Directory authentication with Azure APM instances. Thank you for watching.